Okay, now we're going to go ahead and make a little bit more complex of a wooden texture here, a wood texture map. And again, we're going to start off with rendering some clouds. And I intentionally went ahead and picked out the foreground and background color this time ahead of time. So there's a good dark brown color. Pay attention to the hex color right there. In your assignments or projects, you may want to use that 603217, and then the lighter brown is 985934. Okay, so there we have that, and I'm just going to leave that alone. I could do it a couple more times, but I think I've got a good pattern there. It's a little bit dark over here, though. Yeah, there we go. Just a little bit better. It's a little bit more uniform distribution. Ooh, that's even better. Yeah, we'll go with that. So then we are going to go to render. I said we're going to go to rent. Good grief. We're going to go to render fibers. And this is usually used for things like hair. This is great for making fur. If you're making a brown bear or some sort of a monster or whatever. Anything that's supposed to have fur on it, this is a great filter. We can mess with it a little bit. Don't want to get too much variance or strength. Actually, I think the way I had it was just fine. So maybe about, yeah, I just leave it like that. We could hit randomize, but we don't want to do that. Actually, I just did. So, oh well. That just messes with the randomization seed that the computer's programming uses to do this. So let's get it back to where we want it. Oh, that's a nice one. Get a lot of action there, visual action, and then hit OK. Boom. So it's already starting to look a little bit like wood. But now what we're going to do, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you something I haven't showed you before. I don't think I have. The liquefy filter. And the liquefy filter is something you should, at least it's been in my experience, this is something you really want to hold off on unless you've got a decent amount of RAM. I say that because I've crashed 2 computers using this. I'm hoping that with 32 gigs of RAM on the Mac that I'm using now, that shouldn't happen. But you never know. With my luck, if you know me, I'll probably make the whole thing catch fire. All right, so liquefy. Boom. All right, this should come up first. And those. Yeah, make sure you've got advanced mode clicked on first and foremost. There it is. I couldn't see it at first. That gets all of the buttons over here that you're going to need. So click on advanced mode. Don't worry about all this stuff right here, especially if you're not using an art pad. And then just start smudging things around. And yes, 32 gigs of RAM is delicious. Never drag from the out in. If you see that backdrop right there, you know you've done a bad thing, so just hit undo. Also make sure that backdrop is not checked. And then just start dragging up and down. Click, hold, drag, release. Oops, see, I did that up there. Not cool. If you do that, that's going to cause problems later on that you just don't want to have. So drag from the middle. Ooh, yeah, you want to keep it vertical because that's the way wood grain works. It works in a straight line. It doesn't move too much up and down. But every once in a while, it kind of does. Let's see here. Every once in a while, you'll get, oops, wrong. You'll get little knots where things are kind of compressed, where the wood is compressed. So we'll use the pucker tool and the opposite, the bloat tool. So just start adding some detail to it. All right. The big one though, the fun one though, is the twirl tool And this is where we start adding knots. And just vary your size a bit, which is what I should have been doing before as well. Yeah, more there. This is also really good for making things, whoa, if you go too much, you wind up punching through. What I was about to say was this is good for creating texture maps for gas giant planets. I do a lot of astronomy. I'll try that again. Astronomy art, and this is how I do gas planets like Jupiter and whatnot. So bring that down because I want to add a little bit right here. Then I want to add a bit more smudging through here. Okay, so let's add a little bit more action up here. So pretty busy, actually a little bit busier than I expected. I got carried away on the twirl tool there. That's okay. Just don't. I would recommend not using it as much as I did. So you can always, I mean, if worse comes to worse, you can always go back to, where'd it go? The reconstruct tool and untwirl it. Your reconstruction tool is your friend here because I've gone just hog wild with it. So that takes some of the twirling out. All right, decent enough. Okay, and then just hit OK. Now you have got yourself your basic wood here, but it's a lot more structured. Let's see here. The next thing I want to do, pretty much exactly what I did in the previous videos. I'm going to add some noise. So filter, render clouds because we love it so. Filter, noise, add noise. Let's try Gaussian just for a little bit of a difference here. Then we'll hit OK. Not much of a difference, but, and then we're going to go to blur, motion blur, and this time we want it to go 90 degrees and hit OK. And one thing I forgot to mention in the last video, you want to see how you've got this weird stuff going on at the very top and the very bottom. You definitely want to get rid of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Control T or Command T. We're going to hold the Option key down on the Mac. I'm not for sure what that is on the PC. But we're going to just make this just a little bit bigger all the way around, especially at the top and the bottom, to get rid of that blurring effect. Well, let's try it again. Option T, and then hold the Option down to drag from the center, and then a Shift Option to drag from the center in both directions. And there we go. And then lastly, set that to, what did I have it last time? What did we agree on? Was it soft light? Yes. Ooh, delicious. So that really adds more of a wood paneling to it. We have a nice, rich red there. And of course, we can always do more with the hue, saturation, and value, and levels and curves to fix that. But that is another wooden texture, and this would look great for like some medieval taverns tabletop or something like that, or a door, stuff like that. And speaking of which, I'm going to bring these up here like this, and I'm just making some copies, and I'm going to put them in a folder called back up spares, just because, quite frankly, I really like the way this turned out, and I'm about to make some changes to it, and I want some spares just in case. So go ahead and merge these. And what I'm going to do next is, let's see here. Now this was 800 pixels wide. It's time to do some math. I want to put some planks in here. They'll all wind up looking like they were cut from the same sheet of wood, but that's okay because in many cases that's exactly what happens. If you've ever built anything using 2x4s or sheets of wood, like an actual table, you'll get the same effect. So this will actually wind up looking pretty real. Let's see here. I'm going to put 8 2x4s in here. So obviously 800 divided by 8, that's 100. The width of each plank is going to be 100, but I want some space to show through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make each one, obviously it's going to have to go top to bottom, but I want each one to be have 10 pixels of a kind of a gap there. So I'm going to create another pixel, another layer, and I'm just going to fill that with a solid color. Doesn't matter which one, because we're going to get rid of this layer in just a minute. We're going to duplicate this layer, and bring that over to 100. Now I've got 2. I'm going to collapse those 2 layers, then dupe them again. And now I've got 4. I'm using my numbers to make sure that I line things up. I'm going to collapse and then dupe again. 4 becomes 8. And there we go. Collapse that again. Go to Command T. I'm going to bring that out because I did the math wrong. Big surprise. And there we go. All I'm going to do now is we're going to hold Command key down, select all those planks, hide the plank layer, go to my background and hit Command J, and boom, now I have those by themselves. And now it's just a simple case of, you see me do it plenty of times before, bevel and emboss. This time I'm going to go 135. And I'm going to also do an outer glow. Actually, let's try drop shadow. As well. And yeah, that pretty much does it. Let me go back to bevel and emboss, and I'm going to make this chisel soft. There we go. And I'm also going to do an outer glow as well to give it some more depth. And there we go. So, and the last thing I would do is I'm going to darken the background considerably. Boom. What do you know? There you have your planks. I'm going to go back up to the plank layer. Actually, the second plank layer. Again, I'm going to drag that out. Let's see here. A little bit top to bottom to get rid of the top and bottom, bevel and emboss. And there you have it. So that is another way to create a wood texture. This time a lot more exciting. I think that'll do it now for the base series of archaic textures. That's enough to make just about, oh, I need to do stone. I'll do stone next. Rock textures and stuff like that. I think I've already done that, but just in case, I'll run through that again. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and just do that now, because because it's so incredibly easy. So filter, render clouds, filter render difference clouds, and then just hit the same filter several times, and then filter, stylize, emboss, and just keep messing with these until you get what you want. Actually, I already had it set to that. Then hit OK. You may want to then make a duplicate of that layer. Go to Filter, Other, do Offset, 400 by 400, just to get it so that it doesn't tile. Forgot where I was. It's in Warcraft, and I saw a horrible tile somewhere. I think it's in the tavern in Stormwind next to the auction house at the front of the city. I need to go back and see if I can find that again. But just get rid of these tiles here by erasing. No one's going to notice the difference on a texture like this. But when we go to save for the web, and we go up here and we check out optimize settings, we switch this to background, hit OK, and then hit preview, there is absolutely no tiling. There's a little bit right there, so I can get in and fix that. I have no idea where that is. Oh, it's right there. So I just need to go back up to my eraser tool. It's at the top and the bottom. Try it again. Preview. There's still a little bit. Where is that? It's at the top of the bottom. No, it's right there. So let me get rid of that so there's no seam there. Try it one last time, and whether it works or not, I'm going to give up because I'm hungry and my throat hurts. All right, I still just got a little bit left there. It's a vertical seam somewhere. But instead of you watching me do this and fiddle around with it all day long, A, I'm going to go to Steak Fest, and B, I'm going to go take some cough drops. And C, of course, I'm going to get some Mountain Dew. All right, so cool. Loveliness. That is rock. Rock, paper, scissors. That is rock. That is two different types of wood. That is leather. And that is two different types of cloth. So we've covered quite a bit. And we'll be doing, you'll be doing this very soon as well. So please pay attention and practice.